Hey everyone, how's it going today? Welcome back to another third/fourth stimulus check unemployment benefits extension update. So next month is going, or I guess you can even say maybe even this month if you guys happen to be watching this in the future, but next/this month is going to be a very particularly important month because aside from the fact that, as most of you guys know, is that at this current time there are now officially 23 states that will be ending their unemployment earlier than we had originally anticipated. The big thing is that there's also going to be several changes that are going to be going on, and also keep in mind is that within those 23 states, also keep in mind is that not every single person within those 23 states are going to be ending their unemployment in just in its entirety, in the sense that while it is true that most states will sadly be ending the $300 FPUC boost, the PUA, the PUC, there is still a little bit of variation. And if you happen to be on the traditional unemployment, so traditional UI, you very much likely can still stay on unemployment. It's just sadly you might not be able to get the $300. Now, on another note, though, if you happen to be in one of the states that's hopefully able to keep unemployment, so at this time I guess you can say at this time like 27 states, 50 minus 23, 27 states at this time, many states are going to be making changes now next month in order to try to implement the work search requirements. And some of you guys really wanted me to kind of cover this because it is going to be very important, because regardless of your state, but especially if you happen to be in one of the state that is going to be doing work search, but there are now essentially 38 states, so specifically pretty much I think like 70-something% of this country, or 70-something% of the states in this country, are going to now be starting to implement their work search requirements. Now the great news is that if you happen to be in this video, then you at least can hopefully know to prepare for it because you're hopefully in the right place for it. But the idea is that if you happen to be from one of these 38 states, then it means that you're likely going to have to potentially now start to do the work search requirements in order to try to stay on your unemployment. So we're going to talk all about the details about that today, about which states, how it works, how strict is it going to be, and basically everything that you basically need to know in a little bit. But maybe real fast, before we begin, as always, remember to smash the like button, because at least we're talking about something semi-positive, because it's about trying to stay onto a program. So I think, hopefully there's that. Consider subscribing if you guys are brand new here. Huge thank you if you guys have been here for a while. And as always, feel free to comment any questions, thoughts about honestly just really anything at all, especially honestly just really about anything. So with that being said, let's get this video started right on the spot. So right now at this current time, the 38 states that have announced that they will be doing some kind of work search requirement are going to be Alabama, Alaska, Arkansas, Colorado, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, Maryland, Michigan, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Mexico, North Carolina, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Rhode Island, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Vermont, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming, and very recently just added in now Pennsylvania and Oregon. So I know that the article, I think if you look at the article, it specifically says 36 states. Those two last states, Pennsylvania and Oregon, they actually recently just joined between when the article came out and then pretty much when we're talking right now. So there's specifically now 38 states that are now starting to potentially require work search next month. Now, if you are not part of these 38 states that we just listed, then the really great news is that you should be safe, at least when it comes to the work search requirements. However, I do recommend knowing this because I do think it's important, because anything at this time can really change. For example, like Pennsylvania and Oregon just announced the work search requirement that they're going to be doing, I think literally like over the last couple of days actually. So because we are still a couple of days away from the start of next month, or maybe you're already watching this into the next month, there are going to be many things that may change. So I figured it's still important to know this. Now, real fast is that if you come from a state that's already set to end unemployment earlier than anticipated, and I'll put the video at the very end screen screen that talks about a potential $2,000 get back to work bonus in several states that might be going on. I believe right now there's plans to do this in about 8, 9 to 10 states. So that is actually a pretty good percentage of it. Definitely check that out. I believe it's literally just called $2,000 checks, and it'll be right at the end screen so you know which one. But the idea is that a lot of this stuff is going to be applying even in some of those states, because there may be states that will be ending it, but only for people on PUA and PUC. However, if you're able to stay on the UI, which is the really great news, is you may still potentially have to do it. That's why you might be hearing some kind of overlap between the states that may be ending it and the states that thankfully will be able to keep it, but then may potentially now require you to work search or to present work search documents so that you can continue it every single week now. Now, when it comes to the work search requirements, is that the strictness of how strict they will be with the work search is that it's probably actually going to depend very heavily across all of the different states. I think that the general idea or the believed idea is that they're probably going to implement work search. However, some states, the great news is that it's going to be required, but it might be a very like loose requirement, in the sense that it's either not going to be fully enforced, or is that maybe it will be enforced, but it's a very loose requirement in the sense that it's very easy to kind of, I don't want to say forge, but it's very easy to kind of just almost like just present something that looks reasonable and be able to slide through the requirement. And in other states, it might actually be very strict about it. That part probably depends a lot more on your state. If you have information about it, feel free to maybe share it down below, because there's so many states out there, so it's hard for one person to keep track of every single last state, especially now that we're talking about something that applies to 38 states inside of the country. But typically what's going to happen is that you guys will probably receive some kind of email, or you might be able to find information off of the Labor Department's website that might even already talk about it, or will be talking about it over the next couple of days when they, announce it. But the idea is that likely is that they're going to tell you what exactly you have to do. In most situations, you will probably have to start to create some kind of letter. It could be a document, it could be an Excel file, it could even just be something that you write by hand on paper. But the idea is that they're probably going to now start to ask for some kind of proof to show that you've been actively looking for work. This could be anything such as we just mentioned, as an Excel document, a Word doc, a handwritten paper where you just write out like all of the different companies, the employers, where you applied, and then the final results. It really just kind of depends on the specific state, but the idea is that you're pretty much just going to write some kind of document and also be able to sign it, just showing that you did some kind of attempt in order to find work. Now, there are a lot of ways that you can potentially slide through this. For example, if you happen to maybe be self-employed, or if you happen to be in a contracted 1099 company of some kind, especially if you work in certain industries like catering. I have many friends that are there. I personally work in the events industry, so most of you guys know is that I'm kind of on both the W-2 and a 1099, so you kind of with a lot of you guys there is. But the general idea is that they're really just going to make you try to create some kind of document to use as proof that you might have to potentially upload now every single week, or to basically show them, depending on the frequency or how often your state wants to do it, but in most states it's probably going to be every single week, to basically just show them that you made some kind of attempt in order to find work. But I'd say the general idea is that this current time, until that ends up starting, which is literally a month away, or maybe you are already in that month again, because keep in mind is that we're like a couple days away. That's kind of crazy to think. Is that this is going to be something that you may potentially have to prepare for depending on the state that you're in. And also to keep in mind is that all of these states are being updated. At this current time, there are 38 states. So if you are in one of the 12 states, then thankfully you should be safe for now. However, just do note again, as always, is that anything can kind of change. And it really goes in both directions as well. So you really just never know. Maybe consider subscribing if you guys are brand new here and interested in getting updates if something actually does change, and we can potentially share it in future videos. But that's pretty much what I really just wanted to share in today's update. A huge heads up if you happen to be from one of those states, or if you're looking to try to stay on the unemployment program, if you are able to stay on it, and if you are either not part of one of those 23 states that are about to end, or if you are in one of those 23 states but not on the program that's specifically going to be ending, then I figure that this is probably something important to know. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, consider subscribing and hitting the bell to join in for future updates. Huge thanks if you guys have been here for a while. Remember to smash the like button if you guys hopefully found that relatively insightful. And as always, feel free to comment any questions, thoughts about honestly just really anything at all. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay well, and hope to see you guys next time. Thank you guys so much again.